You must ask the question, why would a 10-year-old child want to die?
Things are gonna get crazy.
Welcome to Keys to Success. This is where you get your daily pills of motivation, encouragement, and strength. Now here's your host, Mr. Success.
Today on Keys to Success, we're dealing with habits part 3. Now today Kirk will be dealing with habits that literally help you to identify short-term or long-term people in your life. So let's get ready to welcome Mr. Success. Welcome to another program of Keys to Success. This is Mr. Success for you. And of course, you would have heard the topic today again. It's habits part 3. And today on the show, we're going to be dealing with a couple of things. And we're going to be identifying some of the basic habits. I have my cue cards here with me to just give me a guide. And we did a lot of research in terms of this. And I'm just going to give you some things to think about. That's basically what we're going to be talking about. Habits, your habits have become the way you breathe, the way you live. That's some of the things we're going to be focusing on. And one of the things, major things that we're going to be talking about today is how do you identify somebody from either the long-term or short-term relationship within your life. Somebody asked me that question and we went through a great discussion to get on that. Forgive me, there is blackout where we are, so we had to open up the office, open up everything. So the natural sounds you're going to be hearing coming in the video, I want to apologize from it from up front. So this is how it goes. How are some of the things that you can identify with? How could you know when somebody is in your life for a long-term reason or for a short-term reason? And okay, let me give you my opinion up front and then I'll give you some scenarios as they go. The long-term persons are the persons that are willing to make the changes in their personal life to accommodate where you're going to go. Alright, so a long-term person, that's the first and only way that you really identify whether this person is there for long-term or whether this person is there for short-term. But of course, what we're going to do, we're going to go through some of the experiences and then we're going to do it. Because some people say how you know them is basically through some of the basic situations, problems, let's put it that way. Some of the problems and complications that you would go through can help you identify whether somebody is there long-term and short-term. I'm there to say, no way. So let's identify some of the goals in both scenarios. Short-term persons. Let's talk about 3 or 4 major areas in which you can test a short-term person in your life and you can identify the issues of it. First and foremost, their goals. Secondly, their actions. Thirdly, their patience with you. And fourthly, the way they speak. Now let's go through them. Their goals as a short-term person. Short-term person's goals, it's basically for them to be fulfilled. It's all about them. Their goal is about what they want, how they feel, what they think need to be done, and you've got to do to meet them. If you don't, then they're upset, then you got problems, then you got situations, then they walk away, then it becomes the problem now becomes you. You're the problem. You don't want to do this and you don't want to do that and you don't want to change and so on and so forth. So this is just the goal set. The goal set for a short-term person is always selfish and self-centered. The second one we're going to talk about is their actions. If a short-term person wants to actually make you think they're there for a long-term reason and they're going to make some adjustments to their goals, the first thing you got to look at is their actions towards it. Are their actions lining up towards what they really want, or what they're saying, or what they're doing, or what is written? Are their actions doing it louder enough? So you got to test their actions. And most people in short-term goal actions are temporary. Their actions, again, are done to please them when they feel like. If they don't think it's necessary, then they're not going to do it. What they feel, how they do this, how they do that, it's all about them again in their actions as well. Patience, if you make a mistake, they're never patient enough with you. They couldn't care less about you and where you stand on certain things and what's going on with you. So the patience on that person is never there. So on a short-term goal, the person is hardly ever patient with the changes that you personally have to make and go through that. And we're going to get into some changes in a couple minutes. All right, and also their speech. Short-term persons never speak positively long-term. They're always on a short-term basis. Like, I don't know, whatever it is, they can hardly make a decision because it's really not about them. So once it concerns any person outside of their bracket, they really can't make proper solid decisions. Like, for example, in most cases, a short-term person thinking in terms of speech is going to say, not no, I'm not sure, I'm not ready, I don't think so, what are you willing to give up for this? I'm not ready to do this, I don't know where, it's all about them again. So they can never make a decision based on that. So short-term people, because they're not seeing it from a perspective of both persons or a group. It's about them, short-term persons. Long-term, let's go back into the same thing. Goals. Their goals basically never accommodate just them. Their goals are bigger than they are. Their dreams and goals must be established outside of what they do, outside of what where they're going to go, outside of what they see, outside of everything generally. So it's bigger than them, a long-term person. And their goals can accommodate where you're going. Now let's put it in this way. Let's say I'm doing a business like what I do, motivational talks. Let's say I'm doing CSR, and I do what I do. And I'm meeting a lady, and this lady basically not interested in what I do, and she's going to study psychology and medicine. Or she's a journalist. Now the thing is, what my goals need to be able to do for that individual is also, even though they're different and their worlds apart, or even if the person becomes a cook or whatever it is, even though the worlds are apart, we need to find a way to bring the worlds together. And that's pretty simple, but also could be very complicated to do. But the goals must accommodate not only where they're going, but more or less where we are going as a couple, as a people. So I'm basing this on a relationship. The second term, as a long term, on actions. A long-term person, their actions will always lead them to represent changes. Now, long-term people are not necessarily the people that ask you to change, but most of the times are willing to change without you. What am I talking about? Long-term people basically will say, listen, if these are the changes that are necessary for us to make it, then I'll be willing to do it. So their actions line up with their goals and with their speech. They're much more patient. I'm jumping into patience. They're much more patient on the way you grow, and always motivating you and always encouraging you to grow. So long-term people see you differently. Not about them, it's about you. They're always pushing you to do better, not worse with yourself. They're always going to be able to put you to a different level. They're always going to help you to think about something that's different. They're always going to be able to put you into a seat whereby, you know what, we're always going to grow. Then, of course, their speech. A long-term person's speech is totally different. How different? Long-term people speak based upon global opportunities. Global opportunities such as, hey, this is where we are, this is where we're going, and this is where we're going to accomplish. It's about us, never them. So long-term people speak differently. Their speech line up with their goals, their actions, their patience, and now it comes down that they can literally walk the talk. Don't allow people to come in and just talk the talk. Allow them to walk their talk. If they say they're going to do X, Y, and Z, then you know what? Okay, you say you can do this, then do it. You know what? That's what you need to be able to do. Now it's raining, so if you can get a lot of that coming in, you know Murphy's Law, when it's ready to go, it's going. Now, I've spoken to a couple of people, and one of the things they say they do is they test the person or test the spirit to see long-term, short-term. Let's talk a little bit about that. How could you as an individual test a spirit? It's virtually impossible, highly improbable. The first thing you've got to understand is this. You're first made up of a human being nature. And really and truly, if we want to go back spirit world, I can remember, it's a funny thing in the Bible to me, but it's very serious, where a demon literally beat two men, where they say, hey, Peter, John, James, and Jesus, I do know, but you, who are you? And they start beating these guys because they thought it was a magic show. The whole thing is, somebody can pretend to be what they're not for a time. So what you do as an individual is put, again, their words to action. Test them, not their spirit. And don't base relationships on past experiences. That's what we're going to come down. Don't test relationships based upon your experience. Let me tell you why. Because every new relationship is supposed to come with a new experience. So if you bring your old experience into this new relationship, then we're going to get some issues. Because this guy that you're dating is not the guy that hurt you before. And what the responsibilities that you expect of me, I'm not that guy. So you can't put that fault upon me. I always ask people, let me give you my experience. Let me fail you. But don't fail me based on the signs you'll see within me. Let me fail you through me. So that's the only way you can fairly judge me as a person. The way you judge me as a person is very important to me. Why is it important to me? It's important to me because two reasons. One, I am not who you dated before. And two, you need to get to know me based upon my mistakes before you can judge me. So you always don't bring your past experiences into a new thing. It's like pouring new wine in old wineskin. It bursts. All right. So each relationship is a new experience. So don't bring the base of that. Could you identify traits? Yes, you can. All right. Spirit-taking world. And I'm going to deal with two things in the spirit-taking world, especially when it comes to women. Gut feeling and spirit-taking world. It's not a spirit-taking world. And again, what happens, it could be that your emotions are intact with somebody. Now, I'm not ruling out the spirituality of things because I am very spiritual and I believe in my God and Savior, and I'm not ruling that out. But I'm letting you know where the practical aspect is lying. Now, when you talk about spirit-taking world, it's talking about a couple of things. Now, you cannot judge a relationship based upon what a mere example or somebody's mere duty will do and perform, and you think this person is going to be there forever based upon how the person smiles, based upon how the person treats you, based upon how the person reacts to you. You can't really judge that like that. What you've got to be able to do personally is be able to sometimes step back and be able to let the evidence. Now let's talk about this. There could be rumors. There's rumors about everybody. It could be false evidence appearing real. Let's talk about it in that way. And then there is fact. So what you need to be able to do is not look at false evidence appearing real and then line it up and make it fact. Let's give some examples of how we can do that. False evidence appearing real could be somebody slandering something about this guy. Let's talk about me. I don't want to put anybody in trouble. Let's say a couple of your girlfriends, this guy is leaving home. Hey, hon, I'm going to church. Okay, B. But then your best friend called and say, hey, I just saw your hubby in the supermarket. Uh-oh. You did. But he told me he was going to church. So now that's a perception in your mind. You may not always tell him up front. You know what? James Susan called me and she said she saw you in the supermarket when you said you were going to church. What you need to be able to do is identify what is false evidence appearing real and what are the facts. Now, could he not go to the supermarket before he went into church? Could he not go to the supermarket after church? I'm not doing this for an argument's sake. But what you need to be able to do as an individual is identify the lies or a liar before the time. Because I don't believe all men lie. And I don't believe all women lie. Alright? But I think circumstances and situations can change along the way and may not be able to filter information the way it should be filtered to somebody at the time it needs to be filtered to. So you need to be able to judge that accordingly. So don't put false evidence appearing real as part of your discussion or part of your life, as part of your example. What you need to be able to do is identify what is real and what is not. And if it's not real, don't put it in the fact of your relationship. Get rid of it. And some women go through the fact, some men too, I can change him. No, you can't. You cannot change a single soul. Because change is personal. I got to decide what I want changed and how I want it to change. You cannot decide that factor for me. So the thing is, you got to get that out your head that you can change him. Because you can't. I cannot change a woman. Let me give you this example too. I like giving examples. The example that I want to give is this. Now, for example, if I like cussing, and I can cuss, every 2 words is a cuss word, it's a decision that I have to make to stop it, not you, because you can't stop cussing for me. It's not your decision to stop cussing, it's mine. So I've got to do it in such a way that I found it important to stop cussing because it's important to you. But you haven't changed me for that. And then I've got to weigh it up into my life and see whether it's worth changing or not. Now let's talk about changes. Most cases where you find individuals who go through much changes in life, and most women you find doing this. Stop it. Don't change for people. Change because it's necessary. Now you can change yourself so much that sometimes you get lost in who you really are. And that's dangerous. You've got to understand that. Change must be for growth and betterment, not only for the individual, but also for you. The change is necessary if you think it's necessary. So what do? In every change that you make, you've got to ask yourself a couple of questions, because people are going to always ask you to change. But are they ready to change to accommodate where you're going? Or they always want you to change to accommodate where they're going to go? So changes is something that is necessary in life, but you don't change for people. You change because it's necessary. Because most people that I talk to, most people that I see, sometimes we go to workshops and we find it, but what happens, people have changed so much. Because sometimes people change for churches, people change for the pastor, people change for husbands, people change for wives, boys change for girls, girls change for boys. Everybody's changing. But when you really sit down and ask them one question, and I want you to ask yourself a question and please get an answer. Send me an email or hit me up on the YouTube channel with a text and let me know. Let me ask you a question. Who have you changed for? And the one question is, who are you? Who are you? See, most people describe themselves, but not really understanding who they really are. Ask yourself that question. Who am I? Because in certain situations and circumstances, people can go so far where they have lost themselves. They don't know who they are. And that's a sad place to be in for anybody. This is as much as we've got for you today on Keys to Success. Join me again. Alright, and this was Habits Part 3. Like I always end every show, stay focused.
Crystallite Sonnets. If you're stressed,
fatigued,
no energy,
poor circulation,
swelling in your feet or hands, then
Crystallite saunas can help.
sauna treatments are very effective. It even helps persons who have problems sleeping at night. To book your appointment, call
675-6656 or 227-3527.
Crystallite Saunas.
Hi, I'm Kwame, and I'm the Managing Director of Confidential Caps. If you're looking to find Crystallite Sauna, you can give us a call on 231-8600 or 231-4000, 231-4001 or 231-8601. Give us a call today and we'll take you to your destination.
Confidential Cabs, the best firm.
231-8600, 231-8601, 231-4000, 231-4001. We are available 24 hours a day, and our base is at 25 Ernica North Road. Confidential Cabs, 231-4000, 231-8601, 231-4001, 231-8600. There's only one taxi service that you can depend on, and that is only Confidential Cab. You were just watching Mr. Success on Keys to Success. For more information, give us a call on 592-675-6656 or the office 227-3527. Or you can be free to send us an email or visit us on Twitter.